This is episode E, Embracing Play with Red Balloon Toy Store. This is A is for Adversity, a podcast about navigating the obstacles in life. Thanks for joining us this season as we talk about how a community can help. I'm Jen.
And I'm Rachel. We're here to be a part of your community this year as we learn together.
Hey, so glad you're here. Thank you for listening. And we will just jump right into my interview with David Castillo from Red Balloon Toy Store. At the end of the interview, David shares some giveaways, especially for the South Jordan location. So make sure you listen all the way to the end and head over to Instagram and follow them at RB Toy Store. Episodes D, E, and F have ended up being all about how family is our first community. Play is such a big factor in that and just strengthening those bonds. I'm a firm believer of that, and that's a huge reason that my preschool that I own is play-based. All right, I am here with David from the Red Balloon Toy Store. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you doing?
Great. Would you mind introducing yourself to my audience?
Yeah, I'm David Castillo with the Red Balloon Toy Store. We are a local to Utah, small chain of toy stores. We have about 7 locations throughout Utah, looking to open number 8 in Kaysville a little bit later this summer.
That's great. How long have you been working with the Red Balloon Toy Store?
Oh, shoot. So I've been with the Red Balloon, if you really want to dive into it, since I was 3. It is a family business.
Okay.
But officially working, since I was 14, and gosh, I'm going to age myself here. So that'd be, I think, about 2003 when I started. So yeah, I'd say this would be about 20 years that I've been working with the Red Balloon.
Great. That's awesome. So how did Red Balloon Toy Store start? You mentioned it was a family business.
Yeah, so it actually existed before it was in our family, and I don't know much about that story there, and so I always feel I need to share that because we do still have some customers that knew the original owners, and I don't want to do that disservice and be like, oh yeah, completely 100% originally ours. But how it came into our family was that I was gifted as a 3-year-old from my grandparents a set of Brio trains, and my dad got really excited about them and wanted to go crazy and buy more tracks and make bigger sets with it. And so he asked grandma where she had gotten the set, and she said, oh, at the Red Balloon. And at the time it was just a single store. And so yeah, he went, and a little bit of context, he did immigrate here from Bolivia, and so he was still learning his English at the time, and so he saw the store closing sign and didn't really understand what that meant. Later asked my mom, and she said, oh yeah, that means they're going out of business. And so I don't know how they kind of got from point A to point B, but somehow that led them to deciding, yeah, why don't we buy this toy store? And yeah, so it all started with that Brio set, which, for anyone who's already a follower of ours, we've just started to put our 30th anniversary graphic on our socials, and you'll see that there's a Brio train tied to the balloons with the ones that make the 30 on them, and that's the reason why it's there, because it all started with Brio.
Got it. It's so interesting to hear the history there. That's fascinating. What would you say is the importance of playing as a family, or just building that community that kind of starts with a family?
Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot about that, because that was asked to me a few times by somebody who accompanied us on a recent trade show, because our slogan is Smart Toys for Smart Kids. And initially there was ample time for play, and so it was about what's the best play, and what's the best form of playing, or the best form of toys. And that's something that I know that the Red Balloon has wanted to encourage, is quality toys that encourage creative play and the aid in the development of children. While that is still true, and that is still the most cited reason by our customers for shopping with us, but we are in a day and age where it feels like our schedules just fill up automatically.
Right.
Our schedules are vacuums that will be filled up with anything that they can be filled up with. And so, while not an official slogan, but what we've been using on our socials more now is make time to play. And so while we're not now trying to lower the bar as to what type of play we should do, but it is so important that, you know what, let's start there. Start at scheduling time. Be
Right.
intentional about the time that you're going to take to play and spend time together with your family, or to even to use it as a way of strengthening the bond between parents and children. Or since last year, the kidult play has kind of been the buzz phrase.
Mm.
It's we need it as adults too, as a way to de-stress. And so, and then yeah, once you get into the habit, then let's start talking about improving the quality and being intentional about the types of toys that you play with.
That's so true. Such a very good point because you're right. Life just gets so busy and if we don't schedule it in, it doesn't happen. So I agree with that fully. With this season, I'm focusing a lot on Daybreak and the community of South Jordan. Do you get to go out and visit the stores very often, or how does it look working in the corporate office in your community there?
Yeah, so gosh, that's always something that just like brings guilt to me because we try so hard. I try so hard to get out to the stores more. I mean, I my time gets taken up by what the business needs, and
Right.
but that's also true though, because I mean, bringing it back to that community, we have great staff in our stores, and
Mm,
so the fact that there isn't a fire for me to go put out every day is a true blessing, and that wouldn't be possible without the staff that we have, our store managers, and we recently created a position for regional managers.
mm,
While doing so was scary, because we were worried that would create more distance between my dad and myself and our stores. But that's been the support they've been looking for. Just that it has been hard to give them lately. But to continue answering your question, I yeah do try to make it out to our stores as often as I can. Fortunately, that store is really close to where I live, and so that's the one that I tend to shop at when I shop for myself or my kids.
mm. Got it. Yeah, so you mentioned it's a Utah store. I didn't realize that, I guess. So is the goal to make it more worldwide, or do you kind of like the feel of the smaller Utah store?
Um, I we hadn't ever considered worldwide or anything like that. Our focus has been on Utah, and even as a subset or a region of Utah, we've primarily been focusing between Logan and Provo.
Mm,
We initially tried to spread, and I'm doing with quote motions with my fingers. We tried to spread far and wide, but we realized that that's really hard to sustain, hard to build a brand and to become
right.
recognizable and more of a household name. And that really became true to me, without going into a long story. When my second child was born, our insurance had deductible had gone way up, and he also needed a surgery pretty young, and so I needed to drive Lyft and Uber for a little while to help pay for those hospital bills on top of what I would earn from working for the Red Balloon. And
Mm,
yeah, it was really apparent to me that not as many people knew us as I thought would. And so we've been focusing on Salt Lake County a lot more lately. And of course, I'm mentioning Kaysville lately, but we're just trying to fill that gap between Logan and Salt Lake. But yeah,
right.
so maybe down the line we look to another state or something like that. But right now our sights are set between Provo and Logan.
Yeah, and I was just curious there. I really honestly like the small, close-knit community feel and just that supporting local businesses and just, people that are creative. That's neat to really just hone in and focus on the product. You had mentioned that you might have a few giveaways for my listeners.
Yeah. So I have two copies of a game called The Crew. It is a great for, I'd say, like older kids to adults. Like I said, we've been focusing a lot on kidult, but it's a game that won the Kenner Spiel des Jahres. I'm probably botching the pronunciation on that award. But yeah, I absolute one of my favorite games. For some of our younger audience, I have a Lego City set and a Lego Disney set from the Frozen 2 movie. I also have a Crazy Errands Mixed by Me set. If a lot of people are familiar with Crazy Errands Thinking Putty, if you're not, it's just silly putty, but so much cooler. And this set in particular, you can mix your own colors.
Wow.
Then last but not least, I have a tumbling hedgehog from Thames and Cosmos. So it's a really cool electronic hedgehog that you have to build yourself, but if you clap your hands, he'll like roll over, do a somersault.
That is awesome. Great. Well, I was thinking that my listeners could pop into Red Balloon Toy Store and mention the podcast and then just kind of a first come, first serve basis. Yeah.
Yeah. Strictly for our district location or our South Jordan one.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll make sure these are there and ready for that.
Okay. That's so great. Thank you. And then just to end on, I always love to ask my guests what a favorite inspirational quote or two of theirs is. Do you have one in mind?
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the person who this quote is attributed to. I think it's Epictetus, something
Hmm.
like that, but it is we have two ears and one mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak.
Mm, yes.
And that's been really great for me lately. I know not directly. Well, you know, it is. I use that a lot in my professional life as well. But I've just it's been hard to see the way how many ways we are trying to be divided by a
Mm,
lot of the messaging that we hear on the news through social media, that sort of thing. But the more I've tried to listen, it's still something I strive to work on. But the more I realize we still have so much in common, whether it be we have differences in belief about religion, politics, how to raise your children, what have you. We have so much in common. We just need to listen more, listen to each other, understand why someone may have a different point of view, and that just makes our relationship so much better. And there's so much more common ground to build on rather than focusing on things that may make us different. So that's why that one's significant to me.
yeah, that is so true. I love that reminder. And yeah, it's crazy how listening really does go such a long way. People feel valued and heard, and all it takes is a listening ear, which everyone can do. So, thank you for listening to me, and I am sure that my audience will enjoy listening to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.